What's up, spiritualites? Welcome back for another video. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm going to take you through my entire strategy up to this point. There are slight adjustments being made every week as I take in more information, as I do more back tests. I will always keep updating it, but every time I do that, I will let you guys know, and you will be a part of some of the things I do try to test out. Also, I'll take you through my back testing log. I'll show you how I use that to become a better trader, and how back testing affects my mental going through the week as well. Because as you're back testing, you're also becoming either more confident or possibly less confident making the live trades for the day. And then at the end, we will wrap up with some adjustments to the strategy that I may want to take for the upcoming week. Now, before we jump straight into the chart, it's really important to understand the log. As a former teacher, I used to always have to look at the standard before preparing the lesson, or else you teach something that may not be on target. So trading works the same way. If I go through and just take a trade and just have the things that I want to do in my mind, it's a lot less effective than if I plan it out ahead of time and see whether or not I should be in the trade at all in the first place. So let's take a look at the log. And so across the top, you'll see we've got the pair, whatever I'm trading. In this case, it'll be Bitcoin. As you can see, I did about 29 tests on Solana, and I've done about 25 tests on Bitcoin. So I have been back testing a little bit already with it. The second column is the direction, long or short, whether I went up or down. The third column is the result, win, loss, or break even. The D column is the R multiple. So here we have what I would theoretically make. So if I lose, then I'm losing that 1%, I'm having minus $1. In the E column, I have the 8-hour trend. Now recall, this is just 8 hours of data on the chart. It is not each bar's 8 hours. Then I go to column F, which is the higher time frame trend. What I'll do for the higher time frame trend is I'll fit as much price action as I can, and I'll try to see what the trend is. Next, we go to a key level. So what I'm looking for in this case is, did price go to a key level before, or am I heading to a key level? Okay, structure is next. And so if I'm counting structure going down or going up, I want it to be on my side. So if I wanted to take a long in this position, so yeah, I've got some structure going up here, right? And so I would continue to get up here. So in this case, in an uptrend, I have higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, and I would expect it to make another higher high. And so where I would take a trade for a long to get up to this level, possibly. Not to say that would be an actual trade, but I want to be in the direction of structure. And so if structure is not on my side, then I don't get that column. All right, the next 3 or 4 really will be found at the bottom of the chart as their indicators. So I have the RSI, Relative Strength Index. I have the 0, which is my personal custom indicator. I have the volume. I have divergence, which really works with SI, a little bit with volume, and I'm not really finding too much correlation with my 0 indicator. So the RSI, what I've found is that the RSI will highlight as it goes into that direction. What I mean by that, as we go down, you would expect to see red highlights where price has been oversold. So we are going in a downtrend here. As you can see, this highlight drops down and it really acts as a bounce, as what I've been finding. And so we bounce up and come to this red highlight. All right, we kind of take a bounce. We come down to this red highlight, take a bounce, come down to this red highlight. Don't quite take a bounce right then and there, but eventually we do get to a bounce. The green highlight. Now that one, we are going down, but as you can see, it gave us a strong impulse to the upside. So I'm working on a way to get 2 reversals. Don't quite have anything solidified yet, but I am working on it. So that's what I mean by RSI. I do want it, if I'm going in a downtrend, I want to see a red highlight somewhere in the past that lets me know, okay, I'm bouncing from here, So where's a good place where it can fall from if I'm going in a downtrend, right? Same thing with an uptrend. See if I can find one. This is pretty quick, but here we had our green highlight, right? Bounce here, green highlight, very small one there, but we bounce here, go up here, green highlights, small bounce. Here, green highlight, small bounce. Here we go with the green highlights, bouncing, green highlights, and we're bouncing. So you can see that it works for a trend to know when, hey, I might be able to a chance to get in, but it's not always 100% accurate, but that's the way that I use it in order to have it on my side. So whenever I give myself a point for the RSI, this is what I'm talking about. The same goes for the zero, except for the opposite. Obviously, the zero gives you the sell or buy, so I want to see red highlights. So in this same uptrend, I'm getting those, hey, it's a good time to sell off. Sell, have that bounce. Here, you're getting a lot of sells, but then you see it does come in for the bounce. So the zero I'm finding as far as highlights go are less powerful, or because they happen a little bit more often. If I just have the zero, less confident than if I have the RSI and the zero together. The other part of the zero that I use is this green line here. If it reaches about 4, maybe 3.9, 3.8, I'm looking for a little bit of a reversal to come in, a stronger bounce in this case. So when it gets up here to about 5, my lines here are 5 and 2.5. So anytime it gets into the middle, I'm looking at it. And then if it reaches higher points, I'm expecting a larger bounce. As you can see in this case, it did not work. In this case, we did get the bounce, not a large one. Right, I'm still looking for a way to find those reversals. Here we got one that went way down and we got a strong bounce, but it still came down. And this is the divergence that we'll get into as well. Notice we went further down on our zero, right, at this point, but price continued down further. But the z-score only went to about negative 2.6, negative 2.8 in this case. But this happens to be where we turn up for that reversal. So still doing a lot more investigation on those reversals, because that's those high risk to reward plays that can make your account grow quickly. But for now, sticking to the 2.5%. Okay. Then we can look at the volume. Always want to see volume spikes. Volume spikes are good to see. They're not automatic, but they do usually tend to have some volatility coming in, whether that be going up or down. That's always up to us to figure out. But if your RSI highlights or your zeros going off, or you've got a good trend going on but you don't have volume, you're usually not in a good spot to trade. So as you can see here, we got some volume as we fell off, a lot of volume here, and then we kind of faded up a little bit. All right, so it's kind of an ending move, or it can be a beginning move. As you can see here, we took a lot of volume to get all the way up here, cooled off here, which is not a good sign. You want to see that volume continue to go in your direction, and then we got big volume coming down and going against that trend. So a lot of volume is good, but remember, there can always be more volume to come up. So you want to be patient. You want to see where that volume's coming from, what direction it pushes price in, and kind of latch on for the ride. Okay, the last two are these lines, my 20 period moving average and my 200 period moving average. All that is the last 20 bars. Is the average is going to be this purple line here, and the last 200 bars will be this gray line here. So because I'm on a 2-minute chart, the last 20 bars will be worth 40 minutes. So the last 40 minutes of price action, the average of all that price action is this purple line, this continuous purple line. Same thing for the 200, so that'll be 400 minutes of data, and this is the average of the last 400 minutes. So I use those to kind of trend follow. I know if I'm below this line, usually means it's a good idea to take a short. If I am above this line, usually it's okay to take a long. For my 20, I like to wait for the crossover. That's what I use this for mainly. All right, I've crossed over that 20. It lets me know, hey, even though structure has not changed on your side, you are getting indications that it's about to fall down. And so that's where I decide to take those trades as it crosses over the 20 moving average. Okay, so the last part of this log is that I have an environment score, a location score, and a signal score. These are weighted based on the different components that I have here. So 8-hour trend is worth a certain amount of points, higher time frame trend is worth a certain amount of points, and my 200 moving average is worth a certain amount of points. Those all go to my environment score. I have my location, right, where the key level, structure, and the 20 moving averages on my side. Those will go to the location score. And then my signal score, right, am I getting the right signals? Is it the right time to go into the market? That'll come from the RSI, the zero, the volume, and my divergence. So all those scores give me a grade between 0 to 100, and that's what spits out right here. And it'll give me A, B, C, D, F, and so on. And the grade actually leads me to whether I should take the trade or not. My cutoff that I use so far is a 75. If I take the trade and it is a 75 or greater, then I will take the trade. If it's a 75 or below, then I will not take the trade. And then yes, 75 is that cutoff moment where I have to make a decision. If I get a 75, I take a little bit extra time. I'm not afraid to be patient. I'm not afraid to catch the next trade. And so with that being said, let's move on to how I look at the chart and actually get into a trade. Okay, so I usually start my back testing sessions on a Monday. I'll pick a random Monday, select date. So, all right, let's try this in here. All right, so, well, off the rip, I can see that this is a super long uptrend. But let's go through what we have so far and see what our bias is. Right now it is midnight, so I'll take a look at 4 p.m. 1600. All right, started here. I don't really even draw this. Started here, went all the way up to here. All right, clear uptrend. Okay, so far I'm looking for a long, fit as much data as I can on my chart, and still looking like it's been going up for a while. All right, so long is definitely the bias right now. Take a look at some of the indicators. Well, let's go through the chart here, starting with the 8-hour trend. All right, we did say that was long. All right, then going to the higher time frame trend. All right, long here. Key level. If I wanted to take a long from this point right here, am I at a key level? Not really. I don't see anything that is giving me key level, but I can mark out some that I have. Maybe this is that. Maybe there, a little bit. I don't really have too many key levels on the downside, far down here. Okay. I guess I do have a little in here as well. So I have a few key levels. Nothing that I can see from the upside. I could just move up to the 15 to see what's behind. Right? If we need to, we can do that. Looks like that level may be here. But keep in mind that is 15 minutes at a time, so I'm not super concerned with levels that come from there. I don't even often do that. But because it is so close, in this case, it is a plausible level to get to that might cause some resistance. So let's look at the RSI, what has been going on, right? We expect in this uptrend to get some green highlights. Yep, green highlight here, green highlight here, green highlight here. Good. Got some red highlights here, looking for a bounce. Again, green highlights, getting a bounce. Going up here, getting those green highlights. And zero also giving red highlights at the same time. So it seems to be a normal trend going up. Let's see if I can get in a long. I'll see if I can get up here for the day. Okay, all right, so I'm looking for a flip over. There's a lot of space here, a lot of imbalance here. All right, prices went up so fast, left some people out. Some people still have orders there. Market does usually tend to come back to those. So that's a good level. We can also pull a fib to see where we might be looking. That's in that 618 level right there. I'm actually going to draw that line just in case that ends up being something. Okay, so I have like levels that I'd like to see come back to before I'd feel comfortable taking along. Okay. May leave without me. And again, that's okay. All right, so notice how we've been going up and up and up, and it hit this pinnacle, and look at where the RSI is. It's actually not high as it was over here. So the market is losing strength, right? I did peak here at 4.9, almost 5 on my Z right here, my 0. So, and it's not peaking this high. So I'm kind of convinced on a little short here. And if I take it short enough, then I might be able to stay within range of where I think it might bounce up from. Okay, so this is the trade I want to take. Let's look at the log to see if I should actually take this. Am I going in the direction of my 8-hour trend? No. In the higher time frame trend? No. Am I at a key level? Wouldn't say so. No. Is structure on my side? Nope. The RSI on my side? Now that is. So I've gotten those greens have been going up, going up, going up. Right? But I have not gotten one to say that there is a bounce incoming since back here. But because that attributes to the divergence, I'm going to go ahead and give myself a point for it. And the 0 as well. Is there a lot of volume? What's volume doing? It had the big spike back here. Could that have been the ending? And we're just trailing off a little bit, letting the rest of the people try to get in a little bit late, gathering orders before we dump to the downside? I'll say yes for the volume. Divergence, yes. 20 moving average, absolutely. And you see the 200 moving average is way down here, so unfortunately we do not. So do I get to take this trade? No. It gives a D/F. 45 out of 100. Absolutely not. I do not take this trade. As good as it looks, as much as I wish I could, you know, it stops me from making those dumb mistakes. You see, I would have gotten taken out right then and there. Okay? So, let's push on. We are looking for this uptrend, this trade up. Let's look at the structure is really tight and choppy here, which is why I'm kind of avoiding it. I guess you're low, then high, then low, then high, low. That doesn't feel good, right? It's hard to count that structure in there. I don't think this was enough of a retrace. Again, I like to use 50% at least, and I guess it did, but just barely 50%. I don't know. Doesn't feel like a real retrace to me. Feels like the market is losing gas, losing steam, and it makes sense because this is the level that I thought would cause resistance. And so we're still patient, still waiting to see what could possibly happen. Now, if we get a strong flush to the downside, that's not going to help my score much, but that'll have more conviction for me to look for different ways for the market to move. Okay, we got a strong spike of volume. If we're looking at our structure here, overall, this would be the area that I would consider that you need to break to be convincing. This one would be even more convincing, and here we are breaking it. So I'll wait for a crossover. So now technically we're in a downtrend on our shorter time frame. Getting some red highlights on the RSI, could be bouncing here. Right? If I get over this 20 moving average and I come close back down in my way, I do believe I'll take the trade or go to my log and see if it's a good idea. Okay, let's see if it's a good idea now. What's changed? 8-hour trend is now on our side because we have now changed character. Short time frame trend is on our side from there. If you really wanted to be picky about it, it broke through there as well. All right, and it is coming back, so it's looking like it is starting a downtrend. Higher time frame, still up, right? It's going to take something breaking in here for me to believe that that higher time frame structure is broken. So short should not be long-lived. Are we at a key level now? I do believe so. We've come up to test this level a couple times now. It's not the most significant level. If I had to give it one, I'd probably say, well, I think this is pretty close. So this could be a fake out, like it's going and it has to actually get up that high. But I think this is pretty close to call for a resistance level. So I'm still liking that. So I'll say yes to the key level. Structure is now on my side. That's correct. Boom, boom. And then expect lower lows and lower highs now. RSI, yes, get him that red for the bounce that we like. 0 is not. It gave us the sell up here at the top, but not the buy. So let's go with an RSI of yes, 0 of no. We're looking at a 75 right now. Do I have volume? Volume did spike here, yeah. They gave us a grand spike over here, but since then, this is pretty much the relative high of anything that's happened since our grand spike over there. So I will say yes to volume. And the divergence, definitely. You know, here is my hit for my green, right, my RSI. And then back here, I'm getting green highlights, and this is way down here. So still working on those divergences there. 20 moving average, obviously always on my side. And at this point, we have crossed over the 200 moving average for the first time since Sunday at 3 p.m. So it's been a while, especially on the 2-minute time frame. That's a while. All right, so I've got an 80. So let's go ahead and put it in. Now, this is where it's a little tricky because this is a lot of space. Again, that imbalance that we talked about earlier is there. That makes me nervous. So if I put that up there, this is the level where I would think something happened. This is the level where I think it could bounce. I'd have to move it pretty much to tap this again. Right? Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. The other option is to take the short from here, where we've just been rejected from. That gives me a much more reasonable bounce, and we're right here with it. So let's try. Okay, getting some red highlights. Good. Might come for a bounce. Getting some more red highlights. Getting the green ones that I want to see. Okay. Back at entry. Okay. So at this point, I'm looking like, all right, there's some imbalance in here. There's a reason to come back all the way up here. Technically, we want to pull from here. And then we have this area right here. So it's coming up to get in that between that 618 and 786 area. So it's getting a little high. So hopefully we can see it come back down and I can move my stop to above that spot there. Okay, nice little fall off there. Oof. Oh, and we're tapped out. Okay, so what I want to do is put it was short, loss, and then again it's going to be -1. All right. I go over here and I want to write some notes. And so that's how I do this. Once I'm finished, I want to write notes about it. What did I think? What happened? What did I miss possibly? And so in this case, price was just in a very strong uptrend. You know, it was very strong and didn't know where it might bounce from or where it might reject from. So it got close enough to my top short zone here, right? And then it comes down to a level at which, why did it bounce from here? Well, you know, this is where this whole kind of dragging trend started. So it came back to support levels, which is a good level for it to come back to. Maybe I should have noticed that before the trade. That's something that I'll definitely want to mention. Try to look for a few more levels before the trade that can happen before I reach take profit. Other things to look at are why it reversed. Was there any RSI things? I mean, I thought we got some regular RSI to bounce. Then we bounced again, but then it took off. There's no particular huge volume spikes here. There was a little bit volume that came in here, but I thought that was good to see in my direction. But sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Okay. So now I'll just type in here, price, start off in my direction. What happened in the trade, and also some of the key metrics that may not have gone my way or that I thought contributed to why I lost or why I won. So price started off in my direction, hit support, and then reverse through my stop loss. All right, so basically what I'm saying is price went down here, hit support, and boom, got through my stop loss here, which was back up here at these highs. Okay, what happened? I did not use the highest high in structure as stop loss. So maybe in the future, if it does continue downward and it doesn't hit that top point, that could be an issue. Also went against higher time frame trend. Anything else that I thought happened particularly? Oh, didn't identify the support. I'll just put should have identified before trade tree. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Good setup, would take it again. Maybe not, maybe look at support and say, okay, once we reach this level, I move to break even because we need to break through, something like that, so I'm not taking any risk. But sometimes you are going to lose. Okay, now that price has broken through that, let's see what we can do. Well, instantly I think of reversing my bias because the higher time frame trend would be on my side. Now we've also seen another break of structure. This one here is really good, but here we also have prices breaking through right now, and we came off a strong support level. So if I'm counting the down structure here, it is this here. Now this didn't retrace as much as I like, but because it has already reached the highs, if it was going to break this, let's get this off here for now. If it was going to break this here and then continue downward, we would have seen it drop from one of these levels here or here, right? But because it continued to the high, that makes me feel better about breaking through there, closing on top of there. Not a strong close, but it makes me want to see about a long. So let's see what a long would look like. All right, so same BTC, and we'll talk about a long 8-hour trend. Now again, it is technically in our favor going up. Also, if you do look at the far 8 hours, so that'd be around 1 a.m. It's not quite in a super far uptrend as it was, but it is slightly going up as well. So we'll say yes because we went along and it's going up. Higher time frame trend we've seen is going up. Are we at a key level? We bounced from a key level, and we are at a key level of resistance now. Not a super key level. That was kind of weak, but this one here trying to break through. But the bounce from the key level is what I like here. This is what started this whole uptrend. I was thinking maybe it could regress down to here as well, but it hasn't so far, so I have no reason to believe that it will break. Also, this could be the bottom of what is now a range, and we're heading back up to the top. And again, we have this level, which is our higher time frame level, that may just get hit. So for the back test, are we at a key level? Yeah, we got a couple in there. Structure on our side, we're in an uptrend. Boom, 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 boom. Right, we did break this downtrend. So now this uptrend is looking like this, and I want to take a long. Put the long on the screen for now. Don't know where it's going to go, somewhere up there. And so we are in a long trend. So structure's on our side. RSI has not quite given us anything to be wary of. This was apparently a bounce here, so it could still come down. So it's not really giving us anything, and actually the zero is starting to give us some sell, a little bit of a sell time. But volume is on our side. So we don't have the RSI, we don't have the zero, but we do have volume. And are there any divergences telling us it might be going up? Well, here was one of the low points, and it looks like they're leveled out, right? Whereas price went down. So there is a little bit of bullish divergence here. On the Z-score, my green line, I don't see anything particularly low. It got to -3, but that's not really anything that I look at as being significant. So yes, we did have slight divergence. 20 moving average, if I'm taking along, I'm over the purple line, so that's good. And the gray line is a 200 moving average, and I'm good there. So while my signal score isn't really telling me, hey, this is the signal, like, let's go, all the rest are really full and giving me that 80. The last 80 didn't work, so now I'm actually thinking, like, do I really want to try this? But an 80 is an 80, right? And so I have to try it. So let's find a better time. I think it's too late. Let me see, from here to here, that's 2.3. If it could get back down to there, I feel a little bit more comfortable getting to there for a 2.54. And you just got to see. And we lost. Oh, okay. And then we got a strong break here. You know? Do we think maybe we just went too early? Let's see one more. One more? Yeah, because that's an 80. And I think we are going to make it up there. Well, let's see. If we can break above here, that should be the sign. And, okay. That's good. I'll take that. That long's got to be there. Still there. Okay, I'm going to need some kind of retrace to happen for me to get in this trade. We'll see. Oh, okay. It's got me in the trade, but the speed at which, again, this doesn't happen in real time. We'll talk about the speed here in a minute. But moving so quick does make me a little like, especially now, I guess, that I'm recording myself. So let's try this here. Okay. All right. Got a nice move up. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and lock in my 0. So the worst that could happen is a free trade. It's definitely getting close. Move that up on there. Be nice if it just took off from this point here. And it is. Okay. If we can break. Oh, here we go. At this point, because this is a new high, it barely broke, but this one, let's see what the next one. Well, the next one is take profit. So I was going to move this up to here just so I could have a little bit of a win and then definitely not have to worry about fees. But here we go. We've got a win. So we definitely have to log this middle loss here. It was a wick. And that will happen. And having the confidence to take it in right that next trade is something that I want to talk about on the psychological aspect. So let me go ahead and log this and we can talk about that. Okay, now I got those logged, so we can move on. So this is my backtesting process. I do this, as you can see, 50 times, and then usually I'll start a new sheet. In this case, my new sheet might include the 0.5s on those. So a little bit about the psychology behind this. I find that it's easy to make some similar mistakes. Like they say, learn from your mistakes, and that's very true, and you need to. But I feel like it's harder when you're backtesting and you're moving quick, and then when you move into the actual live trading, you've got a lot more time to think about it and to overanalyze. So it's easy to make some of the same mistakes that I make backtesting in my live trading if I don't slow down and pay attention to them and really take the time to learn from them. Another thing is that hindsight is always going to be 20/20. So obviously I'm going to be able to see, oh, I should have seen this and this and this and done this. But no, maybe your setup was a good setup and price just decided to move against you this time. So not taking away some of the things that I know to be true just because of what price actually did. And then, like we talked about before, is the speed. Moving so fast on the back test is fun, and you can do it 50 times in a day if you really put your mind to it, or you can do however many you can in a day, way more than you could actually do trading. Keep in mind that that is not the actual thing. So if we're doing great in back testing, it doesn't always translate to the live trading. That's why I try to make my back testing look exactly like my live trading. I'm going to get an 80 like we saw, and I'm going to lose. Or I'm going to get an 80 the very next time, and I'm going to take the win. So what adjustments would I like to make? I think the first adjustment I'm going to make is I'm going to get rid of this yellow bar. This was part of the original. It was an efficiency ratio. That was to really tell me how well the trend was moving. I don't use it too much, and it doesn't really tend to give me too much insight. So I'm just going to keep the green line on there for now and see how that goes. And I think what I'm going to continue to do is look for those reversals, look for those points in the market where I could possibly raise my risk to reward to 4 or 5x. That would be awesome. So if I could find something that gives me that with any kind of statistical significance, then that'd be the ultimate goal. But for now, that's all I have. Thanks for enjoying this video, and I hope you learned a little bit of something about how I'm trading. Please leave a comment if you like it, if you hate it. If you have some ideas, I'm definitely always willing to try new ideas. This is not financial advice. If you want to invest your money or try trading, you should consult your financial advisor before doing so. So remember, this is the journey, not the highlight reel. Trade smart, live free.